Hey guys, this is Mr. Samuel from Aspire Art Studios, here to show you guys how to paint a tropical island landscape. So here we have this colorful scenery of the beach with some flowers and palm trees. Now you could probably guess that maybe this is during summer. Now before we begin, I want you guys to go grab your drawing tools. That includes a piece of paper, pencil, eraser, sharpener, big and small Sharpie. If you're having any trouble during parts of this video, feel free to pause and fix your drawing before you continue. One last thing before we start. If you're planning on painting this piece, you do not have to draw in the trees, the house, and the flowers. You can paint in everything in first, draw those things in with a pencil, and then paint on top again. Alright, so let's get started. So first off, I'm gonna go ahead and draw in the guidelines for myself. And then I'm gonna go ahead and draw in the horizon line, which is half of the page horizontally. Alright, and then I'm going to go ahead and draw the bushes, which is going to be simple shapes, just simple round shapes. And then I can go ahead and find the island, which I can do by adding 3 points and then connecting them. Okay, after you've done that, you can go ahead and add in the trees. Make sure to draw the one in front first and then the one in back after. Alright, so after you've done that, you can add in the clouds in the back. And you're going to do it the same way you did the bushes, just round shapes. And now that we have a general layout, we can start adding in the details of the bush and the clouds. And when you do this, you want to make sure that these round shapes are consistently in a pattern of big and small. That way you don't have boring shapes. After you've done that, we can start drawing in the house, which is going to be a rectangle first. I'm going to go ahead and add in the roof after. And then you want to go ahead and draw the lines inside to make the house three-dimensional. Now I'm going to be drawing the palm trees now, drawing lines in the direction that each branch is going. And then I'll create the shape of each branch after following those lines. Now I'm going to add the details that I see in each branch, and little squiggly lines that go on one side of each tree branch. Next, I'm going to go and add the windows, the door of the house, and also the little tiny bushes that we see next to the house. Now when we draw the flowers, I'm going to start with a circle for each one. And I'm going to show you guys how to draw the hard one and the simple one. So you guys could choose either one. The hard one, all you have to do is draw 4 lines intersecting each other, and then you're going to create the petals of each side following those lines. And then for the simple one, all you have to do is create round shapes going around the circle. Last but not least, we're going to create the waves that are coming onto shore, just creating the curve following the beach, and then adding the details after. Now I want you guys to notice the foreground in the front, which are the really big shapes, middle ground where the house is, and the background where the clouds are. And now it's time to trace. So go grab your big Sharpie and small Sharpie, and then we're going to begin tracing the horizon line with the big Sharpie. Make sure not to trace the trees. And then you're going to go ahead and trace the island with big Sharpie as well. Then small Sharpie for the details of the bush in front. Small Sharpie for the clouds as well. Make sure not to trace the tree again. Now for the trees, you can use big Sharpie for the trunk and small Sharpie for the tree branches. And for the last parts, I'm going to use small Sharpie for the flowers and the waves, as well as the house. So last part, I actually want you guys to trace the inside of the tree branches just like this. And then I want you to erase all the pencil lines that we had before so we could get those nice crisp lines. So it's time to color. So I want you guys to get ready for either if you're painting oil pastel or color pencils. So you can choose either out of the three. Remember, if you are painting, your picture should not consist of the palm trees, the house, and the flowers. They'll actually be painted after we paint in the bigger areas. So we're going to prepare our colors. I see turquoise, so we're going to grab turquoise, preferably like a darker turquoise and also a lighter. If you are painting, you can grab turquoise or even mix it, use it using a little bit of yellow inside of a blue will give you turquoise. Now we will need to make a darker turquoise and a lighter turquoise, since we're going to be blending that in the sky. And then we also want a lighter blue for the clouds, and then also a ultramarine that you can kind of see inside the ocean. Now the ultramarine also applies to the house, so I'm going to get a darker ultramarine blue and a lighter ultramarine blue. And then we can also get a burnt sienna for the island, looking for more of a brownish orange color, and dark brown and a light brown. And for the trees and the bushes, you can use more of a olive green, a dark green, a forest green, and you're gonna use those colors to paint or color in the trees, etc. So I also want you guys to notice the highlights on the trees. If you're coloring pencil, then you would have to blend it while coloring two different parts. If you're painting, you can actually paint in the darker part first, and then color or paint in the highlights after. And then the flowers are the same. The flowers, red and pink, you're just gonna dip the paint and put it right on for those flowers. And you guys could choose like whatever flower colors you want. In this case, I'm gonna stick with red and pink. And then as for the waves coming up on shore, that could be used a really light blue. Okay, alright, so we can get started. So we're gonna start by painting the background first with the turquoise, dark turquoise, and light turquoise, light being on bottom, dark being on top. And make sure that you guys, if you guys know how to blend, you can blend the center. If you're using color pencil, then you would have to gradually get lighter and switch to a lighter color. Now for the clouds, we're gonna go ahead and do also a really light blue. And then I'm going to use a darker turquoise, as you can see, darker than the sky, and I'm going to apply that to the ocean. And if you're doing color pencil, make sure that the ultramarine on the right side is actually colored in at the same time that you're coloring the turquoise in. So you can see that I'm actually tracing around the edges, so then it'd be easier for me not to mess up. So again, if you are painting, you don't have to worry about going around the edges for the tree especially, and house. So I'll just go ahead and finish this part. So for painters, you're gonna actually use ultramarine now, and you're gonna go over this area and try to blend nicely into the turquoise. This applies the same to oil pastel, but not to color pencil. So you should already have the ultramarine colored in, just with the turquoise blended. Moving on to the island here, I'm going to use more of a burnt sienna color. So you can grab a similar color to that and start coloring in the island. So if you are using oil pastel or color pencil, make sure not to scribble, crosshatch. Make sure that you're coloring in a directional, very organized line strokes. Okay. You want to make sure that your pressure is just about right, not too hard. Just relax your hand and gradually get darker if you are using color pencils. So I'm going to use a mid-tone green to color in the bushes. You guys could find a color similar to what I'm using. Get those edges. Alright, and then I'm gonna color in the tree trunks. I'm gonna start with a mid-tone color as well, because after we do all this, we can go back with a darker tone. If you're painting, we can do darker tone and then lighter tone after it dries right on top. Then you're gonna go ahead and fill in those tree branches with a olive green color, also a mid-tone. Same thing. If you are painting, you should sketch these trees out before you paint them in. And I'll start adding darks into the branches, so you can get a darker green. If you're doing color pencil, make sure to blend that. And if you're painting, you can paint right under each branch that you've colored. Alright, so you're going to do the same thing for the tree trunks, the shadow on the left side, and then also the shadows that you have on the bushes. Make sure that your highlights are still in there. You want to keep them in. And if you're painting, don't worry, you can also go back with lights, just so that you can keep those light spots in. Next will be the flowers. So if you're painting, you can go ahead and make the red, pink, yellow, whatever color. I would if you're gonna make yellow, and make sure to add white in the paint, so that way it will go right on. If you're doing a color pencil, you can just color in the flowers any color you want. And then oil pastel, you can also do the same. So this part is for painters and anyone who's using oil pastels. You can go back with the white just right on top for highlights on the clouds. And then we're gonna fill in the house, make sure that the blue you're using is dark and light. One side is gonna be dark, one side is gonna be light, so then we get the 3D shape. And then I'll go ahead and fill in everything else, like the roof and the bushes and the windows and the door. So you can fill those in, and make sure when you do the roof, you can blend it from orange to a more yellow ochre color. And then I'll go ahead and use a light blue for the waves coming to shore. Now for painters, you can paint on top of the beach that you have. And the little details that I see, like the green in the ocean and the bushes, the little textures. And then I'll go ahead and add in the highlights in where I see them, and also in the trees. You go ahead and add in the details I see in the trunks. So I'm going to grab a darker brown, darker than the two tones that I have in there, and I'm going to kind of shade in the center part to create the texture of the tree trunk. And our little tiny details in the end. So there you go, our tropical island landscape. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe and follow for future videos, and check out our current videos inside our YouTube channel. Thank you.